Round 2 of the Blancpain Endurance Series brings the teams to Silverstone, the home of British Motor Racing, the full Grand Prix circuit in use, and yet another fascinating 3-hour race in prospect. A wet Saturday has given way to a dry Sunday, although yesterday the teams had limited running in the dry. The series kicked off at Monza under sunny skies. It was a race dominated by McLaren with action from the very first corner. Battles raged on in the early stint all the way through the field, including Bentley versus Ferrari. Andy Meyrick in second place being given 1 and then 2 taps to get him out of the way, and eventually the car slid down the order. It finished, as did the sister car, in the top 10, but there was nothing the opposition could do about McLaren. As the ART Grand Prix McLaren MP4 12C came out on top. Others struggled, Mercedes for example in the gravel, and Ferraris drew attention to themselves for all sorts of reasons. Marco Seefried did a grand job in the opening stint in the Rinaldi Corsa car. His battles continued lower down the order, with Fuchs and Gignon. McLaren being forced over the curb on board on one occasion too. In the opening hour of the race, eventually Meyrick's Bentley started to suffer with the wrong tyre pressures. That enabled the Ferraris to get the drop on him, and he started to slide down the order. Then Audi, then McLaren lined up to have a go at the Brit. He managed to hang on to a place in the top 10, but only just. There was drama at the first chicane that sorted out Phil Quaife and James Nash. The McLaren limped into retirement. Nash was delayed but carried on. Julian Westwood's Audi was elbowed out wide. There was more drama. Giacomo Petrobelli once again getting in the mix at the second chicane. He survived. Others weren't quite so fortunate. Sergio Afanassiev's Mercedes bounced off the traffic. Nick Katzberg went through the gravel and he brought a whole load of rubbish onto the circuit and suffered a punctured tyre in the process. Vadim Kogai took over 333 in the middle hour and was soon in the wars. He went off at the Lesmo curbs, he went off at the chicane, and then the race-leading McLaren also had a scare coming through the Variante Ascari. Kogai went off again at the Lesmos and put it into the gravel, by this stage suffering with a brake drama, and he was almost collected by the third of the WRT Audis that runs this year in the Gentleman Trophy. Making good progress with Simon Knapp in his Ferrari, going strongly in Pro-Am, as the second-placed Audi in the hands of Stefan Ortelli made a small error at the chicane. He survived though, and that car ultimately would finish in second place. Ferraris in Pro-Am were making progress as well and looking good for class honours, but there was no stopping the leading McLaren. Late in the race, the Team Parker Racing Audi got it all wrong coming out of the Parabolica and backed itself into the barriers. Laurens Vanthoor was really charging in the number 1 Audi, doing his best to get himself onto the podium. But the race was all about ART Grand Prix. The McLaren dominated in the hands of Alvaro Parent, Alexandre Premat and Gregoire de Moussier, and it gave the team victory, having led, apart from pit stops, race long. Delighted drivers on the podium, the champagne sprayed, and a great way to start the season at Monza, and it's proved that McLarens are the cars to beat. One of the top teams in the Blancpain Endurance Series is the Belgian Audi Club Team WRT. 2 cars again in the Pro Cup this weekend. One of them being led by James Nash. He made his GT racing debut at Monza, and now he comes to Silverstone, a track he knows well and a track at which he is determined to go well. Nash switching from the World Touring Car Championship to GT racing. He's on a mission to impress.
Like any race weekend, we expect quite a lot, and our aim here is to go and win. It's a great experience to be racing at home, and hopefully we'll see some home crowds. I think it's going to be changeable conditions, and it's going to be challenging for us, but everybody as well at the same time. This weekend is still going to be another learning phase for me, but every time I get in the car I learn a bit more and I can carry that forward to the next event, so hopefully we can get on the podium.
The Bentleys made their Blancpain Endurance Series debut at Monza as well. It's a new car, the Continental GT3, with limited testing pre-season. Both cars shone in Italy. Number 7 in the hands of Andy Meyrick was impressive in the first stint, and Stephen Kane is the man behind the wheel here, and he is looking very strong indeed around Silverstone. There's no doubt in Stephen Kane's pace.
We're very, very confident. It's great to be back in British soil. Obviously, it's a home race for us, so we're going to push as hard as we can to obviously get a great result, and I think the car will be really suited to Silverstone high-speed circuit. Fast corners and the few slow corners that we have are really, really suited to what we've got here with the Bentley GT. The way the car's performing, we're hoping to get onto the podium and possibly a win. Anything's possible this weekend.
A new team makes its Blancpain debut this weekend, the Leonard Motorsport AMR squad. Two former Caterham racers, Stuart Leonard and Paul Wilson, will drive the car. But the gun for hire, who is going to be the undoubted hero behind the wheel, is Johnny Adam. He's been a race winner in British GT. He's one of the quickest drivers around in an Aston Martin. And with him behind the wheel, this is a car that should fly.
Aston Martin's home circuit, and the GT3 Aston's very good round here, so yeah, hopefully the Leonard car will be straight up the front in the class. You know, pro class is quite difficult, there's quite a few top teams and good drivers in it, so it's a change of class, but hopefully, depending on the weather's changing all the time here at Silverstone, so a good day on Sunday will be hopefully a good result.
But the maestro is back. Bert Schneider, having won the Nürburgring race last year, having won the Spa 24 Hours last year, is back behind the wheel of an HTP Motorsport Mercedes. Maximilian Buch is away on German GT Championship duty, so Bert Schneider takes over the wheel of the car. He's raced here in Formula 1, he's raced here in the ITC, he won here in 1998 in FIA GT.
It's such a strong field. I guess there are probably 10, 12, 15 cars who are able to win the race, and depends also a little bit which car going to find the right setup, because the weather forecast is not straightforward for the weekend. We will see how it goes, and I'm really looking forward now.
The car to beat at Monza, though, was the ART Grand Prix McLaren MP4 12C. And with Alvaro Parent behind the wheel, the McLaren test driver, there was absolutely no touching the car. He was dominant in the first stint in Italy. He's looked mighty impressive in qualifying here as well, although he couldn't quite wrestle pole position away from Franck Pereira. But Parent, once more, will be very hard to beat at McLaren's home circuit.
Definitely a great start in Monza. We did all three, big results, which is the pole, fastest lap, and win the race. So, perfect start. Everyone's focused for Silverstone now this weekend. Everything looks okay. The cars are ready, drivers are ready. Now it all depends what's going to happen with our pace, wet and dry. See where we can qualifying, and it would be great to have another big result like we had in Monza, and we're all ready for that.
There was big disappointment in Italy for the Insight Racing with Flexbox crew. Dennis Anderson and Martin Jensen's Ferrari crashed in qualifying. It did enough damage to render it out for the rest of the weekend. They're back, but with a new car. It's a replacement Ferrari 458 Italia, and Martin Jensen is determined to avenge all of the dramas of Monza and perhaps get on the podium at Silverstone.
Well, we are for sure looking forward to start racing here at Silverstone. Such a great history track, such a great place to be. I think it's a very strong championship, and it seems to be just getting stronger and stronger by year. We have a couple of good, strong competitors in Pro-Am, so whoever raffles the biggest number at the end of the season can call themselves a winner of the championship.
Eugenio Amos has been in the championship in the past, in Lamborghinis, in Ferraris, and this year he switches to a BMW, a class winner in the Pro-Am category. At Monza, Eugenio Amos now turns his attention to Silverstone, a circuit that's traditionally very good indeed for the Z4. And he's looking strong, perhaps for a second victory of the season in the Pro-Am category.
We were a little bit afraid about the weather in Silverstone, of course. So we didn't know if it was going to be rainy or dry. I'm quite happy about our situation now. At a certain point under the water, we were 11th overall, so we are quite happy.
For a number of seasons now, the Nissan GT PlayStation Academy process has taken a whole generation of racers from couch to cockpit. Every year they look impressive, and this year's Blancpain Endurance Series promises to be no exception as a new wave of drivers tackle some new venues. Nick McMillan, the American winner from last year, looked really good at Monza, and Silverstone is a circuit he knows pretty well from all the driver evaluation.
Me and all the boys here have tons of experience with Silverstone. This is kind of I'd say our home race, just because our training starts here from the beginning. The GTR here is supposed to be pretty quick. It won last year, so obviously it's got something good going on.
Franck Pereira, the pole position winning Porsche. Eric Dermol.
So we'll see if it helps or not.
So the grid is starting to take shape here at Silverstone, round 2 of the Blancpain Endurance Series, ready to get underway. It is a bigger grid than we had at Monza, and the team's looking forward to what hopefully is going to be a dry race. Yesterday's weather was appalling. There is the risk of a slight shower, but I don't think it's going to hit Silverstone, and therefore the teams are working on a 3-hour race without the need to do any extra tyre changes apart from those that come in those 2 regulation stops. As ever, the teams are going to try and pit the cars as close to the hour mark as they can, so you're looking at around 29 to 30 laps before we get to the first round of pit stops. And with Porsche on pole position for a change, the car qualified by Franck Pereira, it looks rather different at the front of the grid for this second round of the championship compared to what we had at Monza. But lurking alongside is the ART Grand Prix McLaren. It's going to be started by Alvaro Parent, and if, as he should, he can get away from the gentleman driver Eric Dermont, who will start the Porsche and build up a lead like he did at Monza, the McLaren is going to be very difficult to stop. So Eric Dermont in the Porsche versus Alvaro Parent in the McLaren, but Alex Buncombe starting third in the Nissan is going to be on his toes, you can rest assured, as they come then up towards the timing line. 3 hours of racing. Round 2 of the Blancpain Endurance Series is underway now. The lights go green. The cars thunder off down towards Cops Corner. There's an Audi already, the Chinese car running onto the curb. On the inside line, Alex Buncombe tries to go through, but he gets, in the end, muscled down the order because Guy Smith comes around on the outside. Parent leads the way, and I think Buncombe got held up by the Porsche, and others went streaming around the outside. So Parent leads, is Guy Smith in the Bentley in second place.
Great start for Guy Smith. Johnny in the second row. And contact the Aston into the first round of Beckett's into the gravel.
That is one of the new teams for the weekend. It's the Paul Bailey Andy Schultz car. By the look of it, Andy Schultz at the wheel of it has gone off at Beckett's. He may have done that with an assist as the cars work their way onto the hanger straight for the first time.
Is that going to be a safety car intervention? Not even a lap down.
Let's see. There's plenty of access roads. They can get to it from there. Dermont is losing places, but actually he is putting up a pretty good defence.
Well, according to Franck Pereira, he reckons that Eric Dermont has made lots of improvements in his driving. And of course, starting on pole position and being bullied literally by all those competitors, drivers behind you, he needs a couple of 3 laps to settle down, and then once he can find his own natural rhythm and pace, try to consolidate as best he can that pole position.
Nico Verdonk behind him, and another spin. It's the number 19 Mercedes that goes around. That's Andres Simonsen, who has lost it at Club at the end of Vale. There is Eric Dermont holding up Nico Verdonk. Then behind there's Edward Sandstrom, and then you've got the MP Motorsport Aston as number 1 gains ground. Mark Marseille up on the inside line there, going through Abbey. But Dermont has certainly now become the cork in the bottle because the leaders have gone and he's got this whole pack behind him.
And believe me, that Porsche's got loads of squirt down the straight. That's the great strength of the Porsche. It's got very good traction off these low-speed corners. It's got great speed down the straight, and we'll see whether anybody can get close enough. If there is a slipstream available, battle for the second of the 2 Bentleys as they come onto this Wellington straight.
Guy Smith busy defending, isn't he, as he works his way down through Brooklands, because right on his tail there is Kevin S. This is a fascinating battle. Young GT Hot Shoe versus former Le Mans winner, and Kevin S. tries the inside line. Guy Smith isn't going to like that, is he, as he works his way up towards the end of the lap, and the Bentley hangs onto the place.
And look at the acceleration. Again, the Bentley, really good traction off low-speed corners. Pulls about a couple of car lengths on the McLaren as they come out of Woodcote. Kevin Estre has a look, sticks the nose out of the air. I can't get far enough alongside as I go into Cops. Got to fall back.
Well, there is Edward Sandstrom working his way up past Eric Dermont, diving through Cops Corner. Nico Verdonk in the Mercedes. He's next in the queue as the leaders then go through Beckett's. I think that Aston Martin is pretty much stuck.
Well, they're going to have to do something to get that car removed, and that means putting out a tractor of some description to pull the car to safety. And there is a waved yellow flag in that sector. You wouldn't realise it with the speed these cars are going at. They are meant to slow down, but it's all relative. Slow down to their previous fastest lap. They've only been past there once.
And a challenge is made on the outside there. Look by Daniel Lloyd as he dives up towards Village in 107. It's the first race he's had in this car. Dan Lloyd out of the Carrera Cup GB last year. He was in the Blancpain sprint races at Brands Hatch, and the other Bentley gets mugged there. Jerome D'Ambrosier gets turned sideways. 85 went into the side. That was Sergio Afanasieff, and there's more drama there. The Bentley gets well muscled out of the way, and that was courtesy of Stefano Comodini.
He didn't even know the Bentley was on his, he was looking left. The Bentley was on the outside, and the Bentley had to go off the track. Then BMW clogged the side of the car. It's just very busy right now, but we're on the 3rd lap. Finishing the 2nd lap. So. Settle down.
Well, I was waiting for you to say it. Normally you say this is a 3-hour race, everybody. Calm down.
Calm down, dear. Dear old Michael.
There's the Bentley's first drama.
Yes, it got whacked in the rear by the Mercedes coming through the loop at Village, and then the BMW didn't even know the Bentley was on the outside of the corner. And thank goodness we've got wide open spaces here at Silverstone as well as it being tarmac, because the Bentley actually benefited out of that. BMW really struggled to get moving again.
Not a lot could dislodge a Bentley. We saw that at Monza. No matter what you do to them, remember how many times Andy Merritt was hit from behind? They just stand their ground. That's Guy Smith, and he's still second.
And actually pulling away from Kevin Estre. There's already pit stop for him.
It's number 8 potentially. So
I was going to say to Bruce, maybe he had a tyre go down.
After that contact, they want to have a look at it, certainly, and maybe, as you say, a new tyre.
But having seen that gap extend between Guy Smith and Kevin Estre, it's allowing Alex Buncombe now to get his momentum, his natural pace back, and he's starting to close to the tail of the McLaren.
Alex Buncombe, as I said on the grid, is a far better driver than people give him credit. Daniel Lloyd gets ahead of Eric Dermol, and now also Christopher Mies, number 3 Audi, will try the inside line, going up towards the loop, and he's done it. He almost got into the back of the Aston. Mark Basek tries to get through. Afanasiev tries to get through as well.
Yeah, and doing what the Audi did was the right thing. You get the crowd, get the track position, then you can worry about it when you get to the corner. And unfortunately, Eric Dermol was on the outside, nothing he could do. And in the course of losing one place in Village, he's now lost a further 2 into the Wellington Straight, into Brooklands, and now on the exit down in the run into Luffield.
There is number 8.
Yeah, they're through.
Yeah. So, a punctured tyre, the car is limping back. Jerome D'Ambrosio losing places. And that, I'm afraid, is the 888 BMW of Ryan Ratcliffe, the British GT4 champion of last year in the gravel. That's at Copse Corner. How did he get there? One numbers.
You assume that that's going to be a contact of some description. We didn't get to see the incident. We saw the outcome of it, but it's in the gravel again. Probably not in such a precarious position as the opening lap when the Aston went off. Let's have a look and see. Is this... well, it could be... Was that a Russian-driven Ferrari getting contact, or was that just me? This is a little bit earlier. It's the other group of cars. Porsche goes really wide. Eric Dermol again, right, all 4 wheels off onto the tarmac, not quite making it onto the AstroTurf.
He's doing his best to defend as Stefano Guy lunges up the inside, and Guy will go through, I think, coming into Brooklands.
Yes, he's done it. Stefano Guy is by far the quicker of the 2 drivers. Young guy from single-seater racing into GT racing, and by his nature, he's just got more natural speed. Eric Dermol started in pole, and the car is now into 16th place. The BMW off big time into Copse. Second time we've seen that car off into Copse.
Ryan Ratcliffe's second drama, and this time he's done damage to the back of the car. Bad news, this.
Yeah, but he's gone off under braking, I think, or if it's been another assist, hard to tell, but certainly he lost it. I think he actually knocked out one of the Blancpain corner markers. So polystyrene flying everywhere.
You're right about that. And so now he's going to try and compose his thoughts. There's no assist there, is there? There's no car around him. What happens?
Well, it was under rear
tyre.
tyre.
It's a tyre.
Wow, that was nothing to do with him. Right, wow, what a...
That was a wild old ride.
Wow, we only saw the tail of it, now we've seen the true story. Was that something to do with the impact that occurred with the 333 Ferrari, the Russian-driven Ferrari? Because that was the right rear, and it was the right rear that might have been damaged when the Ferrari hit it. It was left, front, right rear.
All stacks up, the rather shaken one.
Left one had a limp.
Yeah.
So his left, right legs got rattled around the foot box as he's made contact with the barriers.
Up the inside of the Team Parker Racing Audi at the end of Vale. Guy Smith puts a lap on Ian Logie, but Kevin Estre is right there behind. But as we saw at Monza so graphically, you can't easily get past a Bentley, and they're also big, heavy cars. They're difficult to dislodge. So now Parent, even on the grass, though, as he sides through the traffic, he's getting away, and he's really on his toes here. He's not hanging around for a second.
He's trying to use the traffic to his advantage to increase the gap, which he did do on the previous lap, up to 1.9 seconds. Looking for the Bentley. The Bentley is probably losing out. And of course, Kevin Estre's got past. He's gone round the outside. That was happened in Abbey. Something happened in Abbey. We didn't get that view. We'll hopefully have a replay. But Kevin Estre has got past into second place. Guy Smith probably got wrong-footed by the back markers they were having to catch and overtake.
It's a fair bet, isn't it? So Kevin Estre, the opportunist, bags second place. Now, what can he do about his teammate? What can Guy Smith do to fight back straight away? That McLaren looks like it's gapping the Bentley, but then Estre has to be careful of the traffic.
Well, not only has Kevin Estre got to be careful of the traffic, I think Alvaro Parente also needs to be aware that now that Kevin Estre has got ahead of the Bentley, he's going to be lasering in on the tail of his teammate, sister car, and the pace that Kevin Estre has shown, particularly in the rundown of the Bentley now in third place, that's the car I'm going to keep an eye on, number 99.
Over the line he goes, but Guy Smith ain't that far behind him, only 2 tenths of a second. Of course, they still have that yellow flag situation at Luffield, so they all have to concertina up and not overtake under that yellow flag zone. Now we'll see if Estre can get away, and here is the replay.
This is where the place was lost. Just to well, Estre came the long way around. Guy Smith went up the inside, going past the Ferrari, and Kevin Estre took the opportunity to take the longer route and turned out to be the more productive of the two.
Thank you.
we have a whole host of people giving drive-throughs for improving under yellow flags. One of them, significantly, is Mark Lesang. Another is Stephen Jelly. Another one to be penalised is Henry Hassid. Another is Frank Schmickler yet again. Another one is Jerome D'Ambrosio in the Bentley. Also, number 22 is going to be given a penalty, which is Ian Logie out of the Gentleman Trophy. 128 gets a penalty, which is also Gentleman Trophy, Andy Schultz. And number 7, Guy Smith, the man who is in 3rd place, gets a drive-through.
So now, I don't know what these drivers are doing. Yellow flags are clearly waved. There's plenty of warning. There's no excuse for ignoring a waved yellow flag. There are occasions when circumstances you come upon it literally, it gets stuck out at the point you arrive on the scene. But ordinarily to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all being given a drive-through penalty for ignoring it. Is the fault with the drivers, or is the fault with where the flag is being displayed?
It's not saying overtaking, it's saying improving, and therefore they're looking at sector times, aren't they?
So it is sector time, yes.
Yeah, the cars are getting lighter, they're going quicker, so a minor lift would help, but yeah.
And that's the key to a yellow sector is you must not go through it quicker than your previous time when the circuit was green.
And this is one of the offenders, Guy Smith, so that's going to cost him places.
So the AR team ready to bring Alvaro Parente in.
Stays out, will give Alex Buncombe the lead overall, won't it?
It will do, unless Buncombe comes in this lap as well. We haven't seen him come in the pit lane, and there's no red mark. Well, I think that is just coming right now. In fact, he's getting caught him. No, he stayed out, in fact. So, is it Demussier or Primat's going into the lead car?
Kevin Koulias got into 99, incidentally.
Yep.
So
the Estonian driver.
Yeah. Stefan Ortelli has taken over 26.
A little terrier he is. Absolutely is. Loves the racing.
Daniel Lloyd is in. Christopher Meese is in as well. Richard Ambra has come in, so more and more significant stops now cycling through. So there's Kevin S.
Yes.
Car now with Kevin Koulias at the wheel of it.
So waiting to see the Nissan, the lead car. In fact, Guy Smith in 4th place, fastest first sector time in spite of that drive-through penalty.
They're going a long way, isn't he, on this first tank of fuel, Guy Smith?
Going a long way extremely quickly.
Absolutely right. Because he has to make up some lost time after serving that drive-through. Now, are we going to get a switch between the ART Grand Prix McLarens here on the pit stop? Let's see, because over the timing line comes 99 Kevin Koulias. Gregoire Demussier takes over 98 and should be able to hang on to the lead. But let's just check as the cars work their way now up towards Beckett's. Well, they are together.
Yep. So status quo.
Yeah.
From what we could tell, Demussier just ahead of sister car, Kevin Koulias.
Two McLarens absolutely together now.
Oh yeah, Demussier all over the back of Kevin Koulias, and there's going to be Demussier taking the lead of this race, the car that ran in 2nd place, and all over the back of what was Demussier.
Koulias goes to the inside, and he's going to pick off Demussier. So there's the change.
Yes.
99, the 2nd place car as was, goes ahead of 98. So Gregoire Demussier, who proves, I'm afraid, that he's not as quick as Kevin Koulias, loses early in his stint the lead that Alvaro Parente built up.
Absolutely. So there are the drivers looking at it. They'll be taking all that on board. Of course, Andy Soucek, when he gets into that car, will be absolutely on it. Top line race driver in all forms of single-seater racing now in GT racing.
Right, we're into the 2nd hour, and still we've got a few people that have yet to pit. Away goes number 7 then. So Andy Merrick blasts down the pit lane.
Andy Merrick was certainly outstanding in Monza for the first race for the Bentley Continentals, and he will want to do at least the same job Guy Smith did, and hopefully do it without incurring the wrath of the stewards.
Round of pit stops files back through. fight for third, isn't it now? Yeah. Because Ortelli versus Merrick together. So what was 1.7 seconds at the start of the lap. He's coming down, and rather than Ortelli, who runs way wide, he's going to lose a place to Merrick here. This is the third. Easy peasy round the outside, and that was a mistake, a rare one out of Ortelli that did it.
I'm not sure. I mean, it was obviously a mistake. I don't know if it was a concentration error or whether it was something. Just he ran out of talent, maybe, or maybe he ran out of grip. Whatever it was, it gave Andy Merrick the momentum. Once he saw the Audi bunching over the grass, the left side of the car, he knew that the Audi was going to have to back out of it. There is the view from Andy Merrick, or from our view of Andy Merrick in his office, with that dinky little sort of steering wheel. Let's look again and see what went wrong into Abbey. The pace of the Bentley forcing an error from Stefano Ortelli, and that was a rare position. Ortelli, momentum was lost. Bentley swept around the outside as they came through Farm Curve and then took the track position.
Up front, it is still Kevin Kuyos leading the way, now 10 seconds, nearly 11 seconds ahead of Gregoire de Moustier. And I can imagine Alvaro Perez being a bit miffed about de Moustier's pace. He did everything he could in the first stint, and within, 2-3 laps of his stint, de Moustier had lost the lead.
Well, he works for McLaren. He did his job.
He did,
He
that's
got
true,
pole
yes.
position, or didn't get pole position. He all but got pole position. He led the race from the lights going out. You know, he can really do what he does. He can't control Gregoire de Moustier. He can't control anything else. All he can look to is what he does in the car.
There is de Moustier, who first came into the championship driving in the Pro-Am class with Duncan Tappy. In fact, they were class winners at Navarra together 2 years ago, and now he runs in second spot. Now, his last lap was a 2 minutes 5. Andy Merrick's last was 2 minutes 3. So is the Bentley.
Well, you're seeing the Bentley going into Stowe. We just saw the McLaren exiting through Vale into Club. The gap last time around was 20 seconds. Now, whether that gap will be reduced on this lap, it should be.
Looking back at the Nissan, what's going on behind?
And we've got an Aston Martin with its lights on. Well, there's a surprise. Do you think that's an indication that the Aston's going to drive through?
This is for the class lead. So
class lead indeed.
McMillan leading Joe Osborne. They're absolutely nose to tail. Joe Osborne up the inside. Done it.
No brainer.
There you go.
Easy.
And in fairness, Mick McMillan was probably well advised to let him go, because Joe's a much more experienced driver, and if they can bring that car home to the end and get good results and good experience, then that's what they're after as much as anything. So they can also perhaps come back stronger in the third stint of the race, in the third hour. But a change for the lead in Pro-Am.
Shock, horror. Third place to second place, 11.2 seconds, the space of 4 or so laps. They've been calling it pretty much every lap. We've just taken a rise off it. Andy Merrick has almost halved the gap in the space of about 6 laps.
I'm glad you mentioned Andy Merrick, because it gives me a chance to give you Bentley news. The reason that John Wickham went to see the race director was multi-driver infringements. It was tyre spinning, leaving pit stop, overtaking under yellows and improving times under yellows. So it was a general, go and have a word with them,
I
John.
did see the tyre spinning, but you know, these tyres are not put into blankets. Joe Osborne
up the inside, he's done it. That's 5th place, it changes at Stowe. Good move. James Nash didn't make life unduly difficult. Fair pass.
I think James Nash felt that there's a lot of pressure from Joe Osborne for the last few laps. He's been hanging on by his fingernails. On this occasion, the momentum was with Joe Nash and the Aston Martin, and he looked like he was on a mission. Right under the rear wing, perfect overtake. James Nash stays clean on the left-hand side. He accepts that finally the Aston has found its way through. Andy Merrick sticks the nose of the Bentley into the mirror of the McLaren as they go through Abbey, and right in perfect position, de Moustier trying to use the car to its full effect. Merrick's going to have to go the long way around. He might get the cutback as de Moustier does he run wide. Merrick gets alongside, but again, de Moustier on the inside. Merrick's trying to stick, but he's going to be forced wide, has to get under the throttle. So de Moustier may not be quick, but he's clever.
He's got wide elbows, very sharp elbows. He knows how to defend. Andy Merrick right on his tail. Andy Soucek getting ready for his stint in McLaren. As down Wellington Straight comes Andy Merrick to go to the inside. Is there room? Yes, he's done it!
But there might be a slick of white paint down the outside of the McLaren, but it was inevitable, and it was a hard move. Sometimes you've got to do these things to get the job done.
Is that the drive of the race so far? That's
absolutely. But look, de Moustier's trying to come back. Suddenly he realises that, you know, well, maybe I am a racing driver, maybe I've been keeping it all in reserve, but whatever the situation for de Moustier has been, he's been run down by Andy Merrick and the Bentley by the best part of 21 seconds in this stint. Suddenly now he's back at the races.
I have a feeling that by the end of this lap, the gap will have widened again. He's kind of, as you say, been stung into action. Andy Merrick has got better pace. Look, the gap's widening now. So, Greg Wyman is trying to retaliate, but
it was one of these cases of, is he going to let me through, is he not? Will I or won't I? And they just, well, actually, maybe there wasn't any contact. I'm looking to see if I can see any McLaren paint down the side of the Bentley. I don't think there is. I think it was very close, but no contact.
Ben Schneider in with 66 minutes to go. The car 10th. It's out of touch for a win, I'm afraid to say. Tyrrell Primat has lost a lot of time, but he could salvage some more places back before the end. So Ben Schneider gets 66 minutes behind the wheel.
Absolutely mesmeric. He will be just... I've never seen a driver in a GT car that is just so unbelievable. And I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's in his early 50s. He should be retired. He should be retired in his lederhosen back in Germany, slapping his thighs and singing.
Well, that's during the weekend he goes racing. Times go on, but that car pitting relatively early before the hour mark. Stephen Kane gets in. Interesting strategy.
Yeah,
I mean, still pound off.
I mean, the team know exactly the amount of fuel this car has been using. We know that Andy Merrick has driven the wheels off it on his stint. Take it out easy, Stephen. Don't spin up the wheels.
Oh, he stalled it.
He did. Just about caught it, and but he got it going again. But not spinning the wheels is the key. This Ramos, Cesar Ramos has come in. Yeah. He's got tired of sitting behind the Wolf and the Mercedes-Benz. There is the number 7 Bentley making its way down the pit lane at 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometres. Now he can accelerate out the long right-hand curve that leads you up from the exit of Cops Corner.
So 57 laps have now been completed, a bit earlier than I was anticipating actually for that car, but it's in. Kevin Kuyas has done a great job. So good a job has it been, we've barely seen it because he's just been out there pounding away, building up the lead. But of course, he had to overtake and get the lead. A job well done.
Interesting. And the Suchek's got a seat filler because someone I would call the tallest of drivers, but then the Suchek putting that seat filler in. The sort of the contortionist that you have to be to get into a GT car with the obligatory roll cages, the way the seat molds around the driver. The seat belts are attached to bungee straps, so they pull away when they're released. But then you've got to pull them back. You've got the crutch strap with the buckle attached to it. You've got to then do the harness, the whole 5-piece harness up. All that's done. Now they can jack the car up.
And there's the sister car in the background. They're both in.
Okay, so they've come in virtually. The Bussier car get one more lap, or was it that far behind?
Done exactly the same.
30 seconds behind, so that's the difference.
Yeah. So 57 laps apiece.
Stephen Kane. So Stephen Kane is hopefully thinking, can I attain the second place? As that is the third place car. That was the race leader. Now the lead car, Andy Suchek, is making its way down the pit lane and will regain the lead comfortably. And Stephen Kane makes his way through Aintree.
So the battle is on for the last stint between McLaren and Bentley for the honours. There is 98 Alexander Pramat. So that car, we know, dropped to third anyway because of de Mustier's stint.
It's going to be close with that car going back out of track, because Alexander Pramat is going to be in the pit lane exit about the same time. I think the Bentley is coming through, maybe exiting Cops. But there is the Bentley coming out of Woodcote, so it's actually going to be maybe game to McLaren.
There it is. Bentley's second. There it is. That's 19.
Okay. Another 8 cars.
So that is Alexander Pramat. So the order is as you were. It is the Kevin Est, Kevin Kuyas, call me Kevin, Andy Suchek, McLaren leading the way. Bentley number 7 is going to be in second place. Stephen Kane at the wheel of it. Now at the moment the race leader is Stefan Ortelli, but that's because he's not yet pitted to give the car to Greg Gilbert. But it's a notional race leader. In real terms, 99 McLaren is the leading car. And that car is third in the hands of Alexander Pramat as it goes down through Vale. So the battle is going to be between the wheel of 99, Andy Suchek, and Stephen Kane there in the Bentley. Number 38 has yet to pit, and when it does, this is going to really spice up Pro-Am. We're looking at the moment at number 26, which is Greg Gilbert, being held up a little bit by the Mercedes, but that car is in a genuine 6th place. Hubert Haupt in number 19 is about to lose the place to Greg Gilbert, but after Andreas Simonsen spinning on the first lap of the race, that green and black Mercedes for Black Falcon has come back into the game.
And he may not have given up that position, because the Audi took the inside line and had to run wide and lost momentum, so the Mercedes back in contention. So let's see what happens on the straight. We know the Audis have not had the best straight line speed here at Silverstone this weekend. Little flinch from the Audi coming through the final bit of Beckett, and the Mercedes has had better straight line speed. Pick up the slipstream, get under the rear wing, try and use that. Watch for the Audi to see what's going on with the Aston, watching every move from behind. Going one way, then no, nothing can be done. Aston Martin sits and watches the battle between the Audi and the Mercedes, and surprise, Mercedes wasn't in the position to take advantage of the toe down hanger straight, to put himself in position to try and take that corner away.
Right, Joe Osborne, Joe Airborne as he was known when he started. He had two rather spectacular Formula BMW crashes in his very early days of racing, but he's matured into a very good GT racer. He gives way to Le Patron. Mark Poole gets on board.
So is Le Patron up to scratch? He's adequate, not as quick as Joe Osborne
or Richard Abra, but he will not disgrace himself. I think I said earlier on, he's a kind of above average Abra in his Mark.
Got two trying to help do the seatbelts up. You can imagine the stress and panic when you get into the car having had such a fine stint by one of your drivers, and then getting those belts buckled up, getting the crutch strap attached to the main waist part of the seatbelt, then those two shoulder straps buckled in, and one little bit of panic sets off a whole chain reaction. Still not really finished all the work with the driver change. There may be a drinks bottle somewhere in the car that's getting attached to the driver, and then the radio plugged in, and the car's coming off the jacks. It's all set to go, and the driver's set to go as well. Mark Poole drives that Aston Martin out of the pit lane and most likely will retain the lead of the Pro-Am Cup.
So 43 minutes to go, and there's still an awful lot happening in this race. So now it is going to be number 99, Andy Soucek, who leads the way, and he is 16.9 seconds ahead of Stephen Kane. Where did we start? 21 seconds.
21, yeah. I mean, it's sort of ebbed and flowed, I think, principally because of traffic, but Stephen Kane has done what Andy Merrick did in his stint. Oh, Aston Martin in trouble on the bow! Now, what was that? That sounded to me like two cars getting together, going backwards into the wall of the barrier, just under the bridge on Hanger Straight. A heavy impact on the right rear. Look to see again, was that something just in isolation? Was it because he ran wide coming out of Chapel, which it could easily be? Remember, the grass at Silverstone is absolutely saturated. There's Lee, is that the second? Watch up and see. Oh yes, that's what happened. Well, just totally self-induced. And of course the grass is soaking wet, lubricates the tyres, which then have no grip when you come back on the tarmac, and a heavy impact in the right rear. Thank goodness you've got crushable structures on these modern GT cars. That will have taken most of the impact, but way off. And that's what happened in the Nissan on Friday.
Safety car. We have a safety car. You can see now we've got two in the same part of the circuit. I was about to suggest it's a good job the Aston didn't slide further and hit the Jaguar, and the race director thinks I don't want two cars left there. We'll have a safety car. Now then, this throws everything in the air.
I wanted to say safety car deployment.
Go on, John. What's happened? Well, with 42 minutes to go, we get a safety car.
Who's going to be the winner out of this one then, would you think? Stephen Kane.
Hopefully. So Andy Soucek pounds away, and on the restart, let's see where he is over Stephen Kane, who's still stuck in traffic. Stephen, of course, can't overtake, so he goes through 5.4 seconds adrift, and he's got to work his way through that marker, so Soucek now can build this advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Soucek used that back marker of the traffic behind him, which was some of the slower cars, to his advantage, and Stephen Kane, who's really going to just stay cool and not try and do too much too quickly, because that's where mistakes can come in. He's got an opportunity down the straight to make up at least one of those positions. But there you can see Soucek, he's got about 6 seconds advantage in the space of half a lap.
So Stephen Kane is going to have to work mighty hard now. He pulls to the inside to get past the number 3 Audi. It's a lap in Frank Stipler. Ferrari just up the road. He's been a little bit cheeky already by overtaking before he got to the timing line. The Bentley team looking at a podium finish, even if it's not going to be a win. But it could yet be a victory, you never know. Stephen Kane, with 30 minutes to go, is going to really drive his heart out here, isn't he?
Yes, and I mean, he's got to get past the Ferrari, and it ain't necessarily going to be anything easy. There's the gap leader going into Abbey as Kane just comes out of club, and that's going to be a minimum of 6 seconds, probably more in reality. And Stephen Kane has got 2 more cars ahead of him to find a way past before he can get close to the back of the McLaren.
Something odd has happened on the restart, because Alexandre Premat has dropped back into 5th place. He's been mugged by Greg Gilbert and Mark Poole, who have gone 3rd and 4th, and so the second of the ART McLarens that was 3rd has fallen to 5th on the restart.
I suspect there's been a bit of skullduggery going on in that part of the field under the restart, and see what happens to Alexandre Premat. He'll not be particularly happy about it, and of course there it is coming. No, it's not. There it is there.
Yeah, so through goes now. He's actually got back ahead of Mark Poole, but he's lost a place to Greg Gilbert, so the Audi that went so well at Monza is going well here and has really carved its way back into contention after that first stint by Sandstrom. As the replay comes, this shows you how 98 ended up losing places.
Oh, what was Alexandre Premat doing? That is the 98 McLaren getting it all wrong in Luffield. Clearly, that was the restart. Clearly, the brain and the foot were not connected. And there you see him. That's Joe. That's the Mark Poole in the Aston Martin going around the outside of Woodcote. And well, I don't know. What can I say? Sometimes I wonder.
And that's the one that's 3rd in Pro-Am, and Henry Hassett has hit something or somebody, and he's got damage on the front right of the car.
Is it a suspension damage? Is it bodywork, or is it the tyre that has let up? But certainly there's bodywork rubbing against tyre. You can see the level of smoke that's coming from that right front of the BMW. There it is, going very more slowly now. But look at this mess, absolute shambles of cars.
It's going to get in the
contact.
way, isn't it? Vanthor up the inside of Alex McDowell. And number 12, having run wide, has got a possible puncture here, but he's going to get in the way. Look, he's trying to pull out of the way of all of these quicker cars that come storming past him.
Whoa. Reminds me of NASCAR.
It is a bit, isn't it? Everybody escapes. And there, 85 Mercedes runs way wide. That's Steph Dusseldorf now in 6th place. Ben Schneider's not far behind, I don't think, either. So you've got back markers, you've got lead battles for position, all coming into Village. What a scrap.
Comes across start-finish line, the gap, 0.6 of a second.
What a drive. Quicker in all 3 sectors. Stephen Kane got on the brakes and he throws the car into Cops Corner. 15 minutes of 3 hours remain. Is Andy Soucek on borrowed time, or can he defend for another, what's it going to be, 8 laps?
14 minutes, so yeah, it could be maybe 7 laps, just depending where they are when that gets to the last hour.
Stephen Kane. C-Mac McLaren get bigger and bigger and bigger, the closer and closer and closer he's got. That's one of the Boutsen Gignon cars limping down Hanger Straight with dramas. That won't be an issue, I don't think, for the leaders. They'll be able to go charging past easily enough, but if that car continues to limp on, it might get in the way of others. Leaders are safely through first sector. Kane's even quicker, Kane is even closer.
If he's got to swoop and pass the McLaren, he wants to do it in one swoop. If you get bogged down behind the McLaren, it'll be the same as we've seen from everybody else who catches but then struggles to pass. It's that whole issue about keep your momentum. He's carried him forward by the best part of 3/4 of a second a lap on average. Now he's right under the wing of the McLaren. Can he maintain that pace?
Promising, isn't it, for Stephen Kane? Quicker in that first sector. He's almost on the back of Andy Soucek, but Andy rarely makes mistakes, so Stephen's going to have to work for this, and he's closing right up under braking, going into Village. He works the brakes on this car, big a car as it is, very hard indeed, up towards the loop now. Can he get a tighter line out of the corner?
The car looks much better coming through the loop, and that little squirt again down into Aintree, then the run down. So there's bits of the racetrack clearly, and not Andy Soucek, that Stephen Kane has got a performance advantage. Again, sticks the nose of the Bentley into the mirror of the McLaren just to frustrate and annoy Andy Soucek. Again, watch the different line. Soucek stays wide and up the inside, not quite, but he may be side by side as they come out onto Woodcote.
He's going to do it, isn't he, on the inside? He's got the line for Woodcote, he's got the line for Cops Corner. Bentley leads, coming across the timing line. Fantastic! Stephen Kane leads as he crosses the line, and that is on merit. That's not on pit stops, it's not on luck. That is on merit. A new car to the championship goes ahead of the McLaren. Big cheer from the Bentley boys. Big despondency from the ART Grand Prix engineers. 12.5 minutes to go. Stephen Kane leads the way.
They can't believe it. ART cannot believe it, bearing in mind that Bentley had a drive through Guy Smith.
They can't believe it either.
I mean, Andy Merrick.
Breathe, Andy, breathe. What a race, what a drive by Stephen Kane.
Let's watch again and see how Stephen Kane put the Bentley. Bentley's just got more grip in the corner. Got alongside Soucek. Soucek gave room, which is the right thing to do. But then the initial punch off the corner, Kane on the tighter line was still able to get the traction, get the power down, to get alongside and get ahead of the McLaren coming through Woodcote.
And that's the ideal place for it to happen, isn't it? The Bentley in front of the BRDC clubhouse makes its move. Stephen Kane charges through on the inside in front of the team. Fantastic.
I don't want to go near the BRDC suite tonight because all the good old boys who may have driven Bentleys in their time, and there is the team, but you know, still 9.5 minutes to go.
Let's have a look at the Gentleman Trophy before we go any further. 458 has been the dominant car all day, and Frank Schnittler there leads the way by 20 seconds from the number 51 Ferrari, which is currently got behind the wheel of it Francisco Guedes. 458 looks like it's going to make it 2 class wins in a row with 2.5 minutes still to run. Down through Vale it comes. In third in the class is 22, which is the Ian Logie, Chris Jones, Julian Westwood Audi Pro-Am. We've been talking about it much. It is still the Nissan ahead. So Florian Strauss ahead of Mark Poole, and then third in the category is Eugenio Amos in number 43 BMW. Fourth, Nico Armindo, switching to BMWs and Porsches for this year. Fifth in the category, Francesco Castellacci, Ferrari, what else? And in sixth in the class now is Giacomo Petromelli with his, what else, Ferrari. Round 2 of the Blancpain Endurance Series has been a battle of the British brands. Bentley versus McLaren. Bentley will come out on top. Guy Smith, Andy Merrick, Stephen Kane win for Bentley at Silverstone. The Bentley crosses the line. The race director, Alain Adam, waves the flag. The Bentley is victorious. McLaren second in the hands of Andy Soucek. 1.2 seconds is the margin as they come across the line. A fantastic race, and what a result. Bentley, we've talked about in positive terms, but to have a win so soon in the history of the car is very impressive indeed, and where better for it to happen than at Silverstone. A brilliant job done by the team. There for the checkered flag coming over the line is the third place, as it is at the end. Laurens Vanthoor, Audi, he got ahead of Greg Gilbert on the last lap unseen, but Laurens Vanthoor third, so a very, very good job indeed done, because he was a long way back. And for fourth place it is Gilbert, fifth will be Steph Dusseldorf's Mercedes coming over the line, and for sixth spot, Ben Schneider, who comes through now. Stephen Kane clambers out of the car, on top of the car, well, not quite, but Stephen Kane wins at Silverstone for Bentley, and he is absolutely overjoyed, and you can understand why. Everybody at Bentley is delighted, and Stephen celebrates with his mechanics. Well, let's have a look at the overall result. We'll do classes in a bit. The Bentley is the winning car. That's the main headline from Silverstone, as Guy Smith, Andy Merrick and Stephen Kane come through ahead of Andy Soucek, and the Kevins, Est and Kyrgios. Marc Bosseng, Cesar Ramos and Laurens Vanthoor rally for third ahead of Stefan Ortelli, Edward Sandstrom and Greg Gilbert. Then it's Lucas Wolf ahead of Sergei Afanasiev and Steph Dusseldorf, Primoz, Verdonk, Schneider rounding out the top six. Stephen Kane, Andy Merrick and Guy Smith are with John Watson.
Stephen Kane, you brought the Bentley across the finish line to take the victory. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, British brand and a British track. The last time we've seen a British a Bentley on British soil is back in Newton Arch, where I was born. So I take a lot of pride, and I'm very, very pleased to do it in front of the BRDC and all the British fans.
Well, I mean, it's been a stunning drive, particularly bearing in mind that in the early part of the race, that Guy had a drive-through penalty. It was best part of maybe 20 seconds. Guy, you had the difficult first stint and that drive-through penalty. Do you ever believe when you were doing that this could end up in a victory?
No way. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the car was just fantastic. We got the drive-through and we dropped right down, but the guys actually did a fantastic pit stop. It gained us 2 spots in the pits. Andy drove a great stint, and going to the front, and Stephen at the end there was fantastic. So it was a really, really great team effort. All the guys have worked so hard for this, and this is for them.
Andy, you showed us in Monza what the car is capable of, but today it looked even better.
Absolutely. I mean, we've worked on the car from Monza. That was our first race in Blancpain, and I just can't speak highly enough of obviously the car and the Bentley have given us. But Team M Sport Bentley have practiced and worked so hard since Monza, and they've perfected everything. We've been pretty hard on them, and they've just come back and responded like true world champions, and they've just been incredible. So I'm just so happy.
Well, gentlemen, I hope you have a great evening this evening. Forget the wine gums, take the real thing. It'll be really good. Well done.
81 laps were done by the winning car in the class. and Matchel and Schmickler beating Mann, Barreiros and Guedes, Logie, Jones and Westwood. Fourth went to Howard Blanc, Jean-Marc Bachelier and Yannick Malagol, ahead of Freddie Kramer, Marcus Mai and Steve Earle. They were the only finishers. We know about the Aston Martin crashing, we know about the Audi with its mechanical dramas, and the Gosselin Lanier Sword Audi retired early on. And then to the winners, because Alexander Matchel and Frank Schmickler now get the trophies. Pierre Eret was with them at Monza to score a victory, but not here this weekend, so at least not here to race. And so it's just the two of them, and they have divided the driving duties well and come out on top, beating the three-driver combinations. So this is how the Pro-Am category looked. It was a win for number 80, namely the Nick McMillan, Florian Strauss, Alex Buncombe, Nissan ahead of Richard Ambra, Mark Poole and Joe Osborne, with Michela Ceruti, Eugenia Amos and Stefano Comodini third, ahead of Eric Clement, Benjamin Lariche and Nicola Armindo. Rizzoli, Guy, Castellacci, fifth, Brosniewski, Bonaccini and Petrobelli rounded out the top six. And there are the drivers, both Florian Strauss receiving his trophy and a happy man. Alex Buncombe is the man in the middle. He's the professor, if you like, out of his team, because he's the more experienced driver. And with him there on the podium is Nick McMillan. But the Pro Cup is where the overall result has come. To make the point again, Bentley winning by just 1.2 seconds. Guy Smith, Andy Merrick, Stephen Kane on the top step, Andy Soucek, Kevin Est, Kevin Corius on the second step, Mark Lassane, Cesar Ramos, Laurence Vantour from the third step, ahead of Stefan Ortelli, Edward Sandstrom, Greg Gilbert, Lucas Wolf, Sergio Afanasiev and Steph Dusseldorf, and then Harold Primat, Nico Verdonk and Ben Schneider rounding out the top six. And trophies for the Bentley boys. Guy Smith, Andy Merrick and Stephen Kane now gets his trophy that's about as big as he is. They are absolutely and understandably over the moon. It's been a great drive by all three. Bentley wins at Silverstone, and now the champagne. Next stop is Paul Ricard, but from a Bentley 1 Silverstone, from John Watson, David Addison and Jack Nicholls, goodbye. Round 2 of the Blancpain Endurance Series brings the teams to Silverstone, the home of British Motor Racing, the full Grand Prix circuit in use, and yet another fascinating 3-hour race in prospect. A wet Saturday has given way to a dry Sunday, although yesterday the teams had limited running in the dry. The series kicked off at Monza under sunny skies. It was a race dominated by McLaren with action.